Hi everyone, Allison here from the Craigleith Heritage Depot and the Blue Mountains Public Library for another talk and sketch. And this week we are looking at the Beaver Valley Fall Fair and local agriculture for our inspiration. Last week during our museum show and tell, we looked at the Beaver Valley Fall Fair and the history of agricultural societies in the area, which go back to 1870. And 2020 is the 150th anniversary of local agricultural societies here in the town of the Blue Mountains, hosting of the local Fall Fair. And if you would like to learn more about the Beaver Valley Fall Fair, local agricultural societies, former fair queens, and more, please visit the link in the description. And if you have pictures you'd like to share or more, please also visit the description for the link. Today we're going to draw a farmer's field in celebration of the Fall Fair. Farmer's field with a big sky, maybe an orchard, and even a cow. And this image could be used for a future Fall Fair submission. You can check out the classes and competitions section of the Beaver Valley Fall Fair's website, which can be found at beavervalleyfallfair.ca. Okay, so we will get started with our drawing here. You will need a pencil and an eraser. A straight edge, it could be a ruler or just the edge of a book. I am also going to use a white crayon, some watercolor paints, so I need a brush as well, and some water. However, if you just have paper and a pencil or a marker, that will still be just fine, and you could even use pencil crayons or crayons to color it in if you don't have watercolor. So I'm going to show you a pretty quick and simple agricultural landscape scene, and you can add things onto it if you like, decorate it up as much as you want. I started off by placing painter's tape on my paper, which is kind of a thicker watercolor paper, but again, you just use what you have. And if you don't have this tape to frame the edges, that's just fine too. Start with my pencil here. And I am going to aim to have a pretty big sky. So this part will be my sky and this part will be my land or the farmer's fields. I'm going to take my straight edge, which in my case is just a notebook, and place it roughly 2/3 of the way down. But instead of just going straight across, I'm going to angle it a little bit. Draw a line here. And I'm going to press pretty hard with my pencil just so you can see, but when you're doing it, you may want to press lightly so that you can erase it afterwards, or so it doesn't show through. So we've got one line going down. I'm actually going to take that same straight edge and angle it the opposite direction. This is still our sky as mentioned. And what I'm going to do now, because we're here in the town of the Blue Mountains, I'm going to make almost an escarpment view in the background here. So a couple of curved, sloping, low mountain looking hills in the background. Also in the background, you can make some clouds. I'm going to make some cumulus looking clouds, so those big puffy white clouds, smaller and closer together the closer it is to the horizon being kind of the line or close to being the line in the distance. I like to make mine with sort of a flat bottom. And then closer to the top, making them a little bit bigger, gives the illusion that they are closer to us here in the foreground if we were standing there. But you don't need clouds, you could make different clouds, whatever you like. Now on this first line here that we drew, I want you to make little lines going down. And as you get further back or over here, I'm going to make them a little bit smaller and closer together. We're going to take our straight edge again and go roughly to the top of where we drew those lines. Drew a line across. That will be our fence. From here, take that straight edge again, and what I want you to do is place it roughly, so the one edge of it, roughly in that first sloping hill where that line meets the edge. And you're going to put your finger on that edge and angle your straight edge. And where it meets the fence, you're going to draw a line out, keeping that finger on that point there. Turn your straight edge. Where it meets the fence, draw a line out, keeping your finger on that point. Angle it again. From the fence outward, draw a line. Once more, same thing. Now this kind of gives us the illusion of it being a farmer's field. Maybe these are furrows in the ground. In the distance here, maybe we want to add a small cow. It's far away, so it doesn't have to be perfect. Small rectangle, 2 sticks down for its legs. Small rectangle up, kind of an oval for its head. Maybe we've got a little point for its ear, and a line off the back for its tail. Or maybe it's a horse, who knows? So we have our cow, and maybe, because this is the town of the Blue Mountains, maybe there's even an orchard in the background. And we'll pretend it's springtime. We can make our orchard in bloom. So maybe the flowers are just starting to come out. So you can make puffs like so for the trees filled with white, beautiful smelling blossoms. Some little sticks down at the bottom for the tree trunks here. You could even add, say, one larger one right here. One lone apple tree. Do kind of a Y-shaped trunk here. And if you do something like that, then you can go in and erase everything inside that shape that is going to be your tree. There, so you could leave it like that if you wanted to, or you could add some more color to it. And again, you could use crayons, you could use markers, you could use pencil crayon, or you could use watercolor, which is what I'm going to do now. So you can watch a version of what I do here and see the finished product. But this, to me, reminds me of the town of the Blue Mountains, a scene that I'm sure we would see in some of the back roads there. And I'm curious to see what yours turns out like. So feel free to share a picture in the comments. Thank you very much for joining me today. I hope you had fun, and do check out the Beaver Valley Fall Fair's website as well as the online exhibit to see how you can learn more. And join me next week for a Q&A with a former Fall Fair ambassador, and that will be happening actually over the next 2 weeks. So I will see you then. Bye.